Hi, welcome to Vlogmas Day 10. We have made it so far and I am so proud of us. Today's going to be a quick video. We're going to keep it nice and brief because I am on my lunch break. But we're going to go over some book trophies that I still have to collect that I did read and love. And any of these books that I'm mentioning in this video have my stamp of approval and I recommend. So if you need something, if you're like me and you like to go into books completely blind, this video is for you because I'm just going to say books that I like. And then you can just pick one. And if you like it, great. And then we can be on the same page. But anyway, I'm just going to list off the titles, the authors, and if they're part of a series. And as always, I will give you the cover on the screen somewhere. But let's just hop into it. So the first book is Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Baston. I read Ready or Not by her, and her books, there's something about them that just make you feel good. Like, they're very warm and fuzzy, they're cozy, but they're also emotional. And that's like my recipe for success. So her books really meshed with me well. A lot of her books that I've heard of that I want to read, but I just haven't gotten around to yet. So she's definitely one of the authors that I always have my eye on. Next we have, which I mentioned in my 2026 releases, this next book that I wanted to have it physically, Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. This is the first book in the Into Darkness series. These are interconnected standalones, and I loved the first book. Loved it. Don't care for the second book. Hoping for good things for the third book, but I really did love this. It was a fun, lighthearted time, as much as a lighthearted time can be with a dark romance, but I had a great time. Next we have The Outpost by Daphne Perry. This is a book in the Jameson Valley series. I'm not sure which number this is in the series, but I do know that this is the only one in the series that I want physically because it just really connected with me. And I remember it vaguely because my memory is not great, but I do remember falling in love with it and I would love to have it on my shelf so I can annotate it, tab it, and just mark it up and love it to death. Next we have Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. So Lynn Painter is one of those authors that basically every book she's ever written can be on this list and it really wouldn't matter. I don't think I've read a book by her that I did not like. The only one that I have as far as I know is right here, Better Than the Movies. That was my first one by her. Loved it. She's one of my authors, another one of my authors that I just trust wholeheartedly. I'm sorry for the shaky camera. I have you on a different kind of tripod today, but bear with me, please. Lynn Painter is just one of those authors that I know I can go to for a feel-good time. Like, she's just such a fun, lighthearted author, but there's still an emotional pull. But I love her, and anything that she writes, I'm eager to read. Next we have Real by Kennedy Ryan. If you don't already know Kennedy Ryan's writing, she is emotional. She goes there. She goes heavy, and I love that. So I love the emotional investment and I love her love stories. Not all of them hit for me, but a lot of them do, so I'll always be willing to give her books a shot. I have 6 books on this list that are part of the Addicted Calloway series, which I have right here stacked sideways. I want the whole series to be here, and I think it'll probably fill this. I'm hoping it only fills that and doesn't need more space, but I still need the following books: Kiss the Sky, Thrive, Addicted After All, Fuel the Fire, Long Way Down, and then I know the final book is Some Kind of Perfect. I really do think I need to revisit that universe because Krista and Becca Ritchie have a lot of books out, and I know that there are a lot of books in the second generation spin-off series from Addicted Calloway, and I need to figure out where to start. But I really did. It took me a minute because I wasn't really into Lily and Lo's relationship, which they are the Addicted books. But the Calloway sister books, I loved. And I loved all the characters. Lily and Lo grew on me, but I still don't really. They're not my favorite couple out of that series. Next we have Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. This is the first book in the Ruinous Love trilogy. I still need to read the second book. I read the third book, but the first book was my favorite. I've only read 2 of them. But I did DNF the second book initially, and the third book I finished. It just wasn't my favorite, but I loved Butcher and Blackbird. Next we have Daydream by Hannah Grace. I have Icebreaker and Wildfire. I think that's the name of the second one. I have both of them physically. Wildfire is not my favorite. I did love Icebreaker, and I loved Daydream. Loved Daydream. I believe Daydream's Henry's book, and I was really looking forward to Henry's book from, I believe, from the little glimpses that I got of him in Icebreaker. But I remember Daydream connected with me the most. So Daydream is the third book in the Maple Hills series, and I highly recommend. Again, these are interconnected standalones, so you can read whichever ones appeal to you. You don't have to read them all in order if you don't want to, but I read all of them, and I loved Daydream. Next, we have Pucking Ever After, Volume 1 and Volume 2, which are 2 novellas in the Jacksonville Rays series. I think I'm blocking them. The Jacksonville Rays series are, the books are right there. I think I'm missing the newest one. But the characters from the first novella, That One Night, and the first book, Pucking Around, have a special place in my heart, and any glimpses I can get of those characters, I will take. So these 2 novellas are, I think, all I need to complete my collection. But there might also be, I think, the newest Jacksonville Rays book. I don't think I have it. I'll have to double check on that. Mr. Broody by Piper Rain. Mr. Broody is part of the Nest series, and I believe I read all of the books. And Mr. Broody was one that I had no notes. I loved it. But there was something about Mr. Broody that I don't like the names. Mr. Broody, Mr. Swoony, what are the other ones? Mr. Charming. They're not great titles. I'm sorry, Piper. But I did love the story. Next, we have Funny Story by Emily Henry. Emily Henry has not let me down until her most recent release. I did not get through Great Big Beautiful Life. I did DNF it. I think I might have just been being cranky, and I don't think that that's a book that I should be listening to. I think that's a book I need to read physically because of the timeline jumping back and forth. I don't think it was done well in the audiobook. But all the other Emily Henry books that I've read so far, I did love. And I bought a couple at Goodwill recently. I saw People We've Been on Vacation and Beach Read. So I grabbed those. And I do plan on rereading those. Kayla, hated Beach Read. And she was like, do me a favor, when you read Beach Read again, let me know if you actually like it still. Because Beach Read was actually very early on in my reading journey. So I will have to see. My tastes have changed and morphed the more that I've read, as they are expected to. But I'll have to revisit it and see if I feel the same way. Next, we have quite a few books by none other than Miss Rebecca Yarros. I want to have all of this woman's books physically. I have no complaints. There are books of hers that are not my favorite. I really didn't love Things We Leave Unfinished, but the books that I have read by her, I typically do love. So she's one that I know, even if I haven't read the book yet, I trust that I will like it. Even if I don't love it, I'll like it at least. So I have In the Likely Event by her, which I did read and love. Great and Precious Things by her, which Kayla and I just read recently, and I love that one too. It wasn't a 5-star for me. Neither of those 2 books were, but I did still love them. And then I have the entire Flight and Glory series, which is 5 books. It's Full Measures, Eyes Turned Skyward, Beyond What Is Given, Hallowed Ground, and The Reality of Everything. And that's a military series. And again, I read Variation, In the Likely Event, Things We Leave Unfinished, Last Letter, the Empyrean series, Great and Precious Things. I feel like there's more that I'm forgetting. But my plan is to read through Rebecca Yarros' entire backlist. And I like to read her books physically, more so than... Because again, physically I get more invested, I get more emotional. And I read The Last Letter physically, and I was unwell. Highly recommend that one too. I really believe that you'll read books that you're supposed to read when you're supposed to read them. Even if you have it for a really long time, it'll find you when it's meant to. I had The Last Letter, I want to say since it was published. I got it in a subscription box years ago. And I held on to it, never touched it. And I just read it in May, and it was everything. But I trust Rebecca, even though she hurts me badly. Next we have Love Haters by Catherine Senner. So my first Catherine Senner book was The Bodyguard, and I loved it. I have read books by her that I did not love, and I've heard people not love The Love Haters. That was a weird sentence. I've heard people have decent issues with The Love Haters, but I really liked it. I liked it a lot. I don't know, I'm excited to just have these books. Why does it say pre-order? Oh, because I want the paperback. So I'm almost positive that I have carpal tunnel, so that's part of the reason, but I prefer paperbacks. I tried to be a hardcover girly, and I'm just not. But paperbacks are easier for me to manipulate and more comfortable for me to hold. And I like to read laying down, so my Kindle is perfect. But if I have a physical book or if I want a physical book, I prefer floppy and I prefer paperback. So a lot of books are only released in hardcover at first, and then I have to wait for paperback to come out. And that's the case with The Love Haters, but I will wait. Next we have The Heartbreak Hotel by Ellen O. Clover. I did not know that was her last name, actually. This one I read recently, and I really liked it. It was really emotional and sweet. It was a very cozy read. Again, I want it on my shelf. Next isn't a book or a series, technically, but it's a set of Twilight dust jackets. So my mom had the original Twilight box set from when the box set came out years ago, and I stole it from her. Then Midnight Sun came out years later. Midnight Sun's bigger, like taller than the other ones, and it hurts my soul, but I'm not gonna get all new ones. I have my hardcovers that I love, but I also love the new edition of the Twilight series that came out with the flowers. I love those too. I'll put both pictures up so you can see it. But the Twilight dust jackets are on here. They're expensive. I don't even know if they're available anymore. Okay, this one I read recently, Anathema by Carrie Lake. I put this book off for a long time, and I fell in love with it. So I definitely want it physically, and I want Eldritch physically too, but I want to read it first. Look, I think it's a trilogy. I don't know the name of it, actually, the series. Why do I feel like that's crazy? I definitely know the name of the series. Hang on. It's The Eating Woods? That sounds right. The Eating Woods, yes. There are 2 books so far. Eldritch just came out a little while ago, a few months ago, I think, a couple months ago. But I think there's going to be one more book in the series, so I'm going to start off with physically owning Anathema. Eventually I'll read Eldritch, and if I like it, I'll get it, etc., etc. Then we have Never Over by Claire Gilmore. I just read this recently too, because it just came out, I think in November. I loved it. Loved it. And I wrote a lot of quotes in my little book. I have one of those spreads. I think I mentioned it. I think I showed it yesterday. I loved it. Okay, this next one. The Savior's Champion and the Savior's Sister by Jenna Moreci. These are companion novels, part of the Savior series. I have been following Jenna Moreci on YouTube for years at this point, and I read The Savior's Champion. It was the only book out at the time. Now she's working on releasing the 3rd book, but the covers changed and everything, and I found that out like last week. These books, if you want trials, if you want romance, these are for you. I haven't read The Savior's Sister yet, but I read The Savior's Champion, and I really can't wait to read more. So I want the whole series. I don't know if The Savior's Army, that's her next book. I don't know if that one's going to be the last one. I don't know how many books this series is going to be, but her books are so worth the wait. So I want to have them physically so I can annotate and highlight and just capture all of the yearning. Okay, and next we have If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. I just read this one. This is the perfect fall read. It's very cozy. This is the one that looks like it's straight out of Gilmore Girls, and I really liked it. It was really cute. So if you are still itching for a fall read, even though it is just about mid-December, I suggest that one. It's one of the very few books on my fall TBR that I actually read. Next, we have another Lynn Painter book, Fake Skating. This is her newest book that just came out. And again, when I see, so I don't really follow super closely, but whenever I see a new Lynn Painter book in Libby, I jump on it so fast. So I'm not sure when it came out exactly, but I think I might have read it the day after it came out. I loved it. I just love her. She's great. Next, we have Direbound, which is the first book in the Wolves of Ruin series by Sable Sorensen. Fun fact, Sable Sorensen is 2 people, like Christina Lauren. I read Direbound. Furybound is coming out in 2026, as we discussed in the video the other day. I really like Direbound, and that's another one that has a special spread in my notebook. Ellie K. Wilds, I think I mentioned this in the 2026 releases video as well. Her writing, I read Only in Your Dreams and Only Between Us, which are 2 books in the Oakwood Bay series. I think I said them in order. I think it's Only in Your Dreams, Only Between Us, and then the next one that's coming out next year. I really like these books. They're really good. They're very sweet. They're interconnected standalones again, but I really like them. And Ellie K. Wilds is slowly becoming an author that I think I have to keep an eye on. Next, we have Into the Woods by Jenny Holiday. This book is very cozy. I don't remember a ton about it, but I remember really liking it. And then I was like, Jenny Holiday, I'm keeping an eye on you. And it's a very, the more I think about it, I'm remembering a little bit more. It's a little campish. It would be pretty good for fall, but for like fall or summer, like just that little transition period in between when it's not cold yet, but we're starting to get in the mood for fall. That's like the perfect time to read that book. I think I read it in the summer, so whatever floats your boat. Next we have Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. Sarah Adams is another auto-buy author for me. I love her books. Beg, Borrow, or Steal, though, hit so hard for me. And I'm really not sure why, but something about it was just, it hit different. And that came out in January of this year. And last but not least, we have Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison. This was the first book that I read by her and my favorite so far. I've only finished 2 books by her so far, but I do plan on reading the rest of the Love Light Farms series. I'm not sure what the series is called, but there are 3 other books in this series, I believe. And then I want to give Good Spirits another shot. It was just such a cute book. Very cozy. And I think I read it like the perfect time last year. But there's so much love in these books. And I love love. And that's my aunt's fault. Because growing up, she made me watch all these cheesy rom-coms with her. And we still watch all those movies together. So, I don't know. But I love love. And anything with love in it, I'm signed up. So, anyway, these are the books that I want on my shelf. My book trophies that I'm looking to buy in the near future. And that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching Vlogmas Day 10. And I will see you tomorrow for Day 11.